Purpose. One word that carries such an immense amount of weight. Most of our lives, a lot of us would have been bombarded with questions, or at least inner thoughts of, what is my purpose? How do I find my purpose? And how will it feel when I'm finally on the path that my purpose is? And I think because of that, it's very easy to spend a large part of our lives missing what's right here in front of us in the pursuit of something that just fundamentally does not exist. Because our purpose is not something that we seek, it's not something that we chase, it's something that we become. And once we have become the person that we need to be or the person that we want to become, our purpose will naturally emerge as a way forward from that. Because it's not about seeking, it's not about setting goals, setting objectives, and working towards those things. It's about becoming the person who is capable of having the purpose be revealed to yourself. And that goes back to the law of manifestation, the law of attraction, which just all say that the universe responds to our frequency and to who we are. And so when you apply those laws to the idea of purpose or our spark, whatever you want to call it, it becomes just this idea of becoming the person who is capable of your purpose being revealed in its true form. Because if you are not the person who is capable of walking the path of your purpose, whatever that may be, then of course it's not going to appear because you're not living in alignment within yourself as the person who is capable of being the one who accomplishes your mission, accomplishes your purpose, whatever it may be. And so that begs the question then of, how do I find my purpose? Well, again, it goes right back to the whole point of, it's not something you seek. It's not something that's going to arrive on a big neon sign saying, this is what you're meant to do. This is your mission. This is your purpose. This is how you get there. And it's not also about taking it into your own hands and setting, mundane goals or objectives. Rather, it's about trusting that your purpose is to simply live. Your purpose is to live in alignment with who you are, to follow those small micro moments of alignment, and to trust that if you do that, then your purpose will naturally reveal itself as you will have become the person who is capable of walking that path. And so, for example, I spent a large part of my life thinking that I belonged in finance. And so throughout school, I studied hard, I got good grades. I then naturally took the next step of going to uni, getting an accounting cadetship, and thinking that if I did all of this, then eventually I would land a finance role, which of course I did. And then I would feel fulfilled. Then I would feel happy because I would have accomplished what I thought was my purpose in life. And lo and behold, when I got all of those things, I found that after the initial high of accomplishing my goals wore off, it just became mundane. And yet again, I found myself seeking something more. And for me, that something more came not from doing the same thing in finance, but rather turning inwards. And through that path, I found what lit me up. And through following those micro hints and those micro moments of what lit me up, I found that I was more fulfilled walking that path than staying in the place where it became routine, monotonous, just mundane, because that wasn't my purpose. That was just a goal that I set for myself. And once I had accomplished that, then the next part of my life could unfold. And I feel like that's all life is really, and that's all it takes to find your purpose. It's just understanding how you feel within yourself in those small moments, noticing when you feel bored, when life feels black and white, when life feels mundane, and then turning inwards to see what your inner voice is telling you to do next. And if you can't hear your inner voice, which might be a problem if you're new to meditation, it's just about learning to sit in the stillness, learning to sit in the silence, and trusting that clarity will come. Because clarity comes not from thinking, not from analyzing, but rather through allowing space for clear perception to arise. And how does that happen? Well, only through sitting in silence, understanding that silence is the way that your inner voice and your inner world speaks and lights up, and then following what happens from those micro moments. And so don't make the mistake of thinking that your purpose is something that you seek or it's something that will arrive to you on a big neon sign. Rather, it's something that you become. And it's something that you become by following those small micro moments of alignment, those small feelings that feel right, and you don't question it, you just go with it and trust that if you do that, that you'll end up exactly where you're supposed to be because you would have become the person who is capable of walking the path that your purpose is on.